So again, I would like to congratulate you guys kasi nandito na kayo sa stage na yan, no? So I'm happy to say na I'm truly proud of how far you've come. And today we will begin our review for complete denture, which is one of the four core subjects in your cluster 4. So together with your fixed partial denture, removable partial denture, and your dental materials. So these are not just requirements, okay? So tatandaan natin yan. They are your foundations in terms of your clinical practice. Kasi itong mga to, yung mga i-discuss natin for today, you will be experiencing this in your private practice later on. So complete denture prosthodontics reminds us that dentistry is more than just restoring teeth, but this is also about restoring the confidence and the dignity of your patients. So as you prepare to graduate, syempre, dito na tayo sa last stage natin, no? So you should remember that you are stepping into the profession not just as students anymore, but as future dentists that are ready to serve with your skills and your heart. Okay? So for those students who don't know me yet, I'm Dr. Micaela Francesca P. Mangalandan, an alumna of Our Lady of Fatima University, and I've done several postgraduate trainings and continue to learn and grow in my practice. So I'm also a member of different dental organizations here in the Philippines, and it is a pleasure for me to be here. So actually, excited talaga ako to share today's lecture with you guys, no? Especially kasi halos itong batch na 'to kilala ko na, eh. Unlike yung last sem, wala akong kakilala talaga doon at all. Okay. So what happens when we restore not just the teeth, but patient's smile and confidence? So we don't just improve oral function, okay? So hindi lang yun ang role natin. We change the lives of our patients. So we give the patients or we give people the courage to smile, speak, and live with the confidence again. Kasi nga mahirap naman na haharap sila sa atin tas wala silang ipin, ganun. Most of the time, our patients will tell us na, "Dok, nahihiya kasi ako, hindi ako makalabas masyado, hindi ako makatawa ng maayos kasi sira-sira yung ipin ko or wala akong ipin at all." So this slide right here, this is the lecture outline. So ito yung mga itatackle natin for today. So this summarizes the complete denture workflow and the key considerations. So the goal of complete dentures is to restore the function, the aesthetics, and your patient's confidence. Again, so before starting, we should assess the patient's oral tissues, the systemic health of your patients, and expectations to ensure a comfortable and successful outcome. So dentures may rely on three main principles. So ano-ano yon? You have your support, your stability, and your retention. So the tissue's resilience and their ability to adapt are very critical in terms of proper function. And especially sa complete dentures kasi everybody or every patient na gagawin natin, they always have the adaptation period. So we should explain to our patients. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko sa mga clinicians na even before you start your procedure, you should have explained the pros and cons sa pasyente nyo. So you can explain to your patients na parang ako ang sinasabi ko usually pagka nagda-dentures ako, "Ma'am or sir, ang dentures po is para yung bagong sapatos. So 'di ba sa bagong sapatos is kailangan mo siyang ilakad muna for several times before siya mag-fit sa'yo. So nandiyan yung magpapaltos ka, sasakit yung paa mo, yung mga gano'n. Pero as you use the new shoes, unti-unti siyang humuhulma. So it's the same thing with your dentures. Sometimes kasi it's very hard for us to be able to explain yung mga mangyayari sa pasyente if we're going to use yung mga medical jargons natin, yung mga hindi tayo naka-layman's term, no? So sometimes we have to correlate kung ano ba yung mga nararamdaman nila on a regular basis. Parang kung kunyari hindi ka dentista, paano mo ba mako-correlate sa life nila? Ganun dapat mag-explain, okay? And then you explain even before you start the procedure, because if you explain the pros and cons before you start the procedure, it's you informing your patients. But again, if you do it after they've had the symptoms or yung kunyari Hindi mo nasabi na, "Ay sasakit po 'yan, magsusugat po kayo." Tapos sinabi mo na lang siya after, even if you tell them that it's normal, even if yun talaga yung nangyayari, they won't believe you. They will just think that you are making excuses doon sa pagkakamali mo. Okay? So you always have to inform them even before you start doing the procedure. So the clinical workflow would begin with the impression, followed by your occlusal rim adjustments to record the jaw relations. And then we establish the posterior palatal seal, arrange the teeth, and set the occlusion. So after processing the denture base, the final steps would be your delivery and your necessary adjustments. So some patients may need immediate dentures or over dentures. We will be talking about the special dentures then for today. So others may have compromised ridges, yung mga mabababa na, dry mouth, or any neuromuscular issues. So yun, tinitingnan din natin yan. Which require careful tissue management and sometimes relining or rebasing. So I'll be explaining when to reline and when to rebase. So finally, patient education is very essential, especially when you're delivering your complete dentures to your patients. So they should understand how to care for their dentures, kaya dadaanan din natin yung post-operative instructions, and what to expect during the adaptation period. Because again, every denture has its own adaptation period depending on the pain threshold of your patients, depending on their systemic health. So kung kunyari medyo diabetic si patient mo, then definitely yung mga singaw niya, you can expect na delayed yung healing, yung mga ganon. Okay? So overall, our goal is to provide a comfortable, functional, and aesthetically pleasing denture that would improve the patient's quality of life. Okay? So hindi lang tayo ipin-ipin lang. Hindi lang tayo pangiti-ngiti lang. So let's start by first defining prosthetics. Prosthetics is a branch of dentistry and medicine that deals with the design, creation, and application of artificial substitutes for missing parts of the human body. So, in the context of dentistry, it specifically focuses on replacing the missing teeth and the related oral structures like your gums and your bone support. Okay? And the professional who performs the work is called a prosthetist. Okay? Huwag kayo malilito. This is a healthcare professional skilled in designing and fabricating your prostheses. So in dentistry, this role is usually filled by your prosthodontists or dentists who have received specialized training in prosthodontics. So yun yung may mga postgrad or kaya mahaba na yung experience in terms of fabricating dentures. So finally, the prosthesis, which is the actual device or appliance that replaces the missing structure. So in dental practice, a common example would be your complete denture, which is itong tinatakal natin for today. So this replaces all the teeth in an arch along with the surrounding oral tissues or oral structures. So essentially, the prosthesis is the final product that restores the function, aesthetics, and comfort in your patient. So in summary, to summarize this slide, prosthetics would be the field, prosthetist would be the professional doing the dentures, and then the prosthesis would be the appliance itself. Okay? So lumalabas yan sa board exam, the definitions. So now let's discuss why denture construction is important for our patients. So first, ano ba nare-restore natin? Again, we don't just restore yung mga pa-smile-smile lang nila. So we also restore the function. So complete dentures enable patients to chew and speak effectively, and proper mastication improves nutrition, allowing them to eat a variety of foods. So sino may ayaw kumain ng maraming pagkain, di ba? So kaya nga sinasabi natin sa mga patients, ako sometimes when I'm consulting a patient, I would ask them, especially if I've noticed several missing teeth, and for the longest time wala pa silang denture. So I would always ask them, pansinin niyo po, yung ano po ba, hindi po ba kayo natutunawan madalas? Lagi po ba sumasakit yung sikmura nyo? And most of the time, they would tell me, yes. So bakit? I would explain because you're not able to masticate properly. So therefore, you would tend to just swallow a bolus of food nang hindi mo siya nginunguya. Kasi nga wala kang pangunguya, eh, kahit gusto mong ngumuya, gums to gums, 'di ba hindi naman puwede 'yun, okay? Kaya nga sinasabi rin natin na hindi lang about doon sa ipin ng ngiti-ngiti. Minsan yung mga sakit na hindi sila matunawan, it's also because of their dental problems. So dentures also help us restore the phonetics, especially for sounds like the F sounds, S sounds, and the V sounds, which can be very difficult to do when the teeth are missing. So second, we also restore the aesthetics. So dentures provide facial support for the lips and cheeks, preventing the sunken appearance. Yun yung parang nakalaylay yung cheeks ng patients nyo. So this is often accompanied by the tooth loss, and they improve the patient's smile and overall facial harmony. So while also maintaining the vertical dimension of occlusion, which is very crucial in terms of the proper bite and facial support, facial proportions. Kaya nga ang sinasabi natin, kapag bagsak ang vertical dimension, then probably there is impingement of your TMJ. So, ibig sabihin nun, may ngalay yung pasyente mo. Kasi nga hindi naka-relax position, wala ka sa centric relation. Because of wear and tear, o kaya hindi pa nagpapagawa ng denture at all, pabagsak talaga yung vertical dimension. Kaya tayo kumukuha ng VDO, VDR, for us to be able to replicate or bring back the centric relation para at rest yung pinaka-jaw mo. So finally, last importance but not the least is to restore the patient's confidence. So again, missing teeth can cause embarrassment or low self-esteem for your patients. So by replacing them, dentures would enhance social interaction and psychological well-being, helping your patients to feel whole again. Okay? So may mga patients dyan that you may encounter that the moment you deliver the denture, naiiyak sila. Kasi hindi nila alam na ganun pala kalaki yung impact natin sa itsura nila, no? So, after the dentures, talaga namang hindi mo mapatigil ngumiti. Lagi silang nakangiti kasi feeling nga ang ganda-ganda nila. Yung mga ganon. Okay? So, in short, dentures are not just about teeth, but they restore the function, again, the aesthetics, and the confidence, which significantly improves the quality of life. So, masyado ba akong mabilis? Or hindi naman? Okay lang? Sige, you just have to tell me ha, so I can go slower. So now let's take a look at the patient considerations using House's mental classification from 1936. So as you've noticed here, wala kasi ako makita ng picture ni Dr. House, no? But for you to have a quick recall, I've placed the picture of House MD. So yung sa series yan. Para lang pagka tinanong kayo, you would have a pictographic memory or photographic memory na, si House yun. So siya yung nag-classify nito. So para lang mas madali siyang tandaan. Okay? So this classification would help us predict patient behavior and treatment outcomes. So for the first type, this is your philosophical patient or your reasonable patient. So this patient has an ideal attitude for successful treatment and they are well balanced, cooperative, and would rely on the dentist for proper diagnosis, prognosis, treatment, and education. So because of their understanding and their compliance, they usually have a very good prognosis. So this is the type of patient that we want in our clinic. Okay? So ito yung mga hinahabol nating pasyente. Gusto natin yan. Kasi definitely it would give us a very good prognosis, especially if they would listen to us. They would let us do our jobs. But sometimes hindi 'yon ang nakukuha natin. So second type of the patient classification would be your exacting or your critical patients. So this patient is methodical, is very precise, and accurate. So they may ask many questions and sometimes would make high demands during the treatment. So despite being more challenging to manage, they typically have a good prognosis. So as long as the dentist provides careful explanation, step by step, and meets their expectations. So itong mga klaseng pasyente na 'to, ako sometimes I would charge them higher as compared to my normal price. Bakit? Siyempre may inis fee ka dapat. Kasi ang tagal niyan. If they would ask you too many questions, it would take a whole lot of chair time. So longer chair time ka diyan, longer yung management mo sa kanya. So pagka gano'n, siyempre they have to pay you for the time na kinonsume nila, 'di ba? So akala nila sila lang ang nakaisa sa'tin, tayo din. Gano'n. Okay. So for the next classification, we have the third type, which is the indifferent or passive patient. So this patient would show little concern for the dental treatment and would tend to give up easily. Yun yung pagka-finit mo, yaan mo na doc, sige okay lang. Ito this type of patients, ito yung mga tipong dinala lang ng mga anak. So kunyari ikakasal yung anak niya, "Ay doc kasi ikakasal ako gusto ko sana may ipin si mama." Yung mga gano'n. But the patient itself, they don't want to have their dentures. So they are unconcerned about their appearance and doesn't care about their ability to chew or function properly. So they will not even make an effort to learn how to wear or use your complete dentures. And because of this lack of motivation and compliance, they usually have a poor prognosis. So dito pa lang, dun pa lang during your impression taking, during your consultation, you would be able to classify anong klaseng patient ba to. So malalaman mo na agad na, ay parang ayaw naman niya eh. Then definitely, explain mo na lahat na kung hindi niyo po susuot to, sasakit po yan, hindi po hindi po talaga maaayos yung ipin niyo, yung mga gano'n. So, i-emphasize mo na kapag hindi mo sinuot 'to, 'pag hindi mo ako sinunod, yung mga ganyan. Kasi wala nga silang pakialam, okay? So last type of patient would be your hysterical or your antagonist patient. So this is the most difficult patient to manage. So they are very emotionally unfit to wear the dentures and are rarely satisfied with the treatment. So due to their emotional instability and their resistance towards your treatment, so they have the worst prognosis. Ito yung mga ayaw natin talaga. As in, minsan 'pag nakikita mo yung pangalan sa schedule parang, ayokong pumasok, siya na naman. Yung mga gano'n, okay? So, what I can suggest for you to do is for you to refer to other dentist pagka ganito na. 'Pag medyo napansin mo na talagang hindi nasa-satisfy 'tong pasyente nito, refer mo na siya dun sa kaaway mong dentista. Charis. Hindi, refer mo lang siya sa iba na mas kayang mag-manage. Kasi masakit sa ulo 'yan. Sometimes the pay is not worth it for yung sakit ng ulo. Kaya yung tatawagan ka sa gabi, yung mga gano'n. Okay? So understanding these patient types rather, allows us to communicate effectively and tailor our approach. So which will then help us improve the treatment outcomes and the patient satisfaction. Kasi nga, choosing your cases, yun ang nagbibigay ng success. Okay? Tsaka ng relax-relax sa buhay. Kasi if you're not going to choose your patients properly, then definitely sasakit ang ulo nyo. Especially in the private practice, pagka binabayaran ka na nila, tingin nila na bili ka na nila. So you have to inform them and set boundaries that I'm the doctor. You need me. I don't need you. Okay? Kasi if you think about it that way, yun yung ikaw mismo ang magbibigay sa kanila ng treatment plan. Ikaw ang masusunod. Kapag ka kasi sinunod mo lang, kunyari pumasok sa'yo yung patient or pumunta sa'yo yung patient, and then, "Doc, I want to have my dentures fabricated." Without you doing a consultation, without you telling them that, okay, you need a denture fabricated, then hindi ka nagiging doktor masyado do'n, 'di ba? Parang ang nangyayari lang do'n, inuutusan ka ng pasyente, o sige po, gusto niyo po ng denture, sige po gawan ko po kayo." Hindi gano'n. Ikaw mismo ang magsasabi sa pasyente, "Ma'am, you need a denture." Because it will restore your function, your confidence, yung mga gano'n, yung mga tinatakal natin ngayon. Okay? So now let's talk about the biological basis of denture construction. So specifically, your ridge resorption patterns. So understanding how the alveolar ridges resorb over time is very crucial in terms of planning and fabricating your dentures that fit well and function properly. So first, let's discuss the direction of the ridge resorption, which differs between the maxilla and the mandible. So in your maxilla, the resorption pattern would occur in a superior and posterior direction, meaning it would move upward and inward. So as a result, the maxillary would gradually constrict. So meaning, kaya umaatras, nagiging class 3 sila. Because when the maxilla resorbs, it would constrict, aatras. Okay? And then in the mandible naman, the resorption would occur inferiorly and anteriorly. So it moves downward and outward. So this widening, okay, take note, when the maxilla resorbs, it constricts. When the mandible resorbs, it widens. Lumalabas siya. Okay? So it can significantly change the patient's facial profile over time. So another key point also here in this slide is the rate of resorption. So ano ba yung rate of resorption natin? The mandible would resorb approximately 4 times faster than your maxilla. Okay, take note, 4 times faster ang mandibular resorption as compared to the maxillary resorption. So this accelerated resorption can lead to noticeable changes in facial appearance, such as your shortened lower face, also known or also referred as your pseudo class 3 or your sunken face appearance. Yun yung soggy na yung cheeks ng patient mo. Okay? So to summarize, as the maxilla constricts, again, it constricts, and the mandible would widen, the residual ridges would change the shape over time. So it is very careful. That's why very careful evaluation or consultation of the ridge anatomy and resorption patterns is essential, especially in denture construction to ensure optimal fit, function, and the aesthetics of your patients. Now let's review the anatomical structures of the maxilla and the mandible. These are important for the dental fabrications, and understanding these structures would help us identify what are the limiting areas, supporting areas, and the relief areas, which are very critical for proper fit and function of the complete dentures. Kasi syempre ito, matagal na eh. Preclinical nyo pa dinidiscuss to. So this is just a comprehensive review para, ay, oo nga pala yung limiting structure. Ay, oo nga, yun pala yung nagbibigay ng support dun sa dentures. Okay? Wait lang. So for the maxilla, limiting structures, these structures would define the borders of the denture. Kaya siya limiting, it limits your denture to prevent the overextension. So they include the labial and buccal vestibule, kaya nga hanggang doon lang ang linya natin, your hamular notch, your vibrating line, and the posterior palatal seal. Those are your limiting structures. Now, for the supporting structures or the stress-bearing areas, these are areas that bear the masticatory forces and should be properly utilized in denture design. So for the primary, for your maxilla, that's your horizontal portion of the hard palate and the slopes of your residual alveolar ridge. So for the secondary stress-bearing areas, that's your palatal rugae and your maxillary tuberosity. So as you've noticed here, naka-color coding siya. Kaya, para kung kunyari, katulad ko kayo na pag nagre-review is per color, kasi may mga taong ganon, no, na yung pagka naalala mo, nakikita mo yung slide, photographic memory ka. So, pagka blue, it's maxilla. If it's red, it's the mandible or mandibular anatomical structures. Okay? So last structure or last classification would be your relief structures or your non-stress bearing areas. These are the areas where pressure should be avoided to prevent the discomfort or the tissue injury. Okay? Kaya ito yung mga areas na nilalagyan natin ng wax relief. Kasi yan yung pag na-impinge, masakit sa pasyente. So what are those areas? What are those anatomical structures? That's your labial and buccal frenum. That's your incisive papilla, median palatine raphe, and your torus palatinus. So later on, we will be discussing kung anong mangyayari kapag hindi mo nirelieve yung mga structures na yan, especially yung incisive papilla. Okay? To discuss the mandible, the limiting structures, again, this is the finish line. Kumbaga yung pinaka-borders ng denture mo. It would limit your denture for overextension. It would be your labial and buccal vestibule, your retromolar pad, your retromylohyoid space, and your alveolo-lingual sulcus. Now, for the supporting structures or the stress-bearing areas, for primary, that would be your buccal shelf. And then take note, for the mandible, secondary ang slopes of the residual alveolar ridge. Unlike in the maxilla, it has your primary stress-bearing areas. It is your primary stress-bearing areas. Okay? For the relief structures or the non-stress-bearing areas, that would be your labial and buccal frenum, your lingual frenum, your genial tubercle, mylohyoid ridge, torus mandibularis, and your mental foramen. Ito, mas madami. May yung mga nire-relieve natin sa mandibular cast natin. 'Di ba? Kasi kaya most of the time, mas masakit ang lower denture as compared to the upper denture. Kasi hindi lahat ito is nare-relieve natin ng wax using the wax. So by carefully evaluating these anatomical structures, we can design dentures that would maximize the support, minimize the pressure on the sensitive areas, and enhance overall comfort and function for your patients. So before starting your denture construction, a thorough examination of the patient is very essential. So this would include the supporting structures, which we will then assess the alveolar ridges for the height, the width, and the contour. Okay? Next na i-assess natin would be the tongue and the floor of the mouth. So we also evaluate the size of the tongue, the mobility, and the anatomical variations if there are any. Okay? Next na evaluate natin would be your TMJ or your temporomandibular joint. So we check for pain. We ask the patient for pain, the range of motion, how big can they open their mouth, or is there any dysfunction in terms of using the TMJ or in terms of opening and closing of the mouth. So we also ask for the existing prostheses. We inspect the current dentures for the wear, if there are any, kung kunyari maluwag na the fit, and the occlusion. So doon pa lang kasi it will give us an idea on what type of occlusion ang kailangan ng pasyente mo. Is it a lingualized occlusion? Is it a monoplane occlusion? Yung mga ganon. And then you can also ask your patient how long was the denture fabricated. So kasi kung kunyari makikita mong upod na yung mga ipin tapos 1 year, 2 years pa lang, then definitely mga monoplane yung patient na yan. Huwag mo nang habulin yung anatomical na setting kasi uubusin mo din yan. So, yung mga ganun, okay? Huwag niyo papahirapan yung sarili niyo. I-assess niyo na properly yung case for you to be able to do it ng mabilisan na. Okay? Kasi pagka nga, ang sinasabi nga natin, correct diagnosis leads to correct treatment. Agad-agad yon. Okay? So there are also critical areas that would need special attention, which includes your maxillary tuberosity, your mandibular retromolar pad, your buccal undercuts, and your maxillary and mandibular tori. So radiographs also would show us residual roots, would help us identify residual roots, which may be retained if asymptomatic and without radiolucency. So kunyari may makita kang impacted third molar but it has been asymptomatic for several years. There's no radiolucency or yung wala namang sac, odontogenic cyst, wala namang ganon. Then you can retain yung ipin na yan. And then you just inform your patient and then you monitor. Basta po sabihan niyo ako pagka biglang sumakit. As long as hindi siya naka-expose sa oral cavity ng patient. Kasi may mga impacted third molars na dahil wala ng ipin, lumabas na ng partial yung cusps. Kasi pagka ganon, syempre may pathway na yung bacteria para pumasok. And then masisira siya. Syempre pag may nakapatong, mahirap linisin, di ba? So yung mga ganon. Pagka ganon ang case na napunta sa inyo, you have to remove the third molar. So you have to rule out the pathology such as the lesions, the cysts, before proceeding with your denture fabrication para iwas sakit sa ulo na din. Okay? So when performing a clinical examination prior to denture construction, it is also important for us to assess the patient's facial type and the patient's facial profile. So as these would provide us valuable information for planning occlusions and aesthetics. So for the facial type, we have three types. You have your brachycephalic, which is yun yung mga patients natin who has a broad and short face. Mesocephalic, paraboloid or average face, and dolichocephalic, which is long and narrow face. Okay? So for facial profile, we have the straight or the orthodontic, which corresponds to the class 1 occlusion. For convex, retrognatic, which corresponds to a class 3 occlusion, and concave facial profile, which is prognatic, which corresponds for class 3 occlusion. Usually, patients who are complete denture patients, they have a concave facial profile. So identifying the facial type and profile would help us in predicting the occlusal relationships and planning the orientation of artificial teeth during your denture fabrication. Okay? Wait lang. Ayan. Water break lang. Sorry na. Hirap pala yung dire-diretso magsalita. Okay. So next slide. When evaluating a patient for the denture construction, again, identifying key facial landmarks is essential for proper orientation of the teeth, lip and lip support and aesthetics. So what are the important landmarks? So this includes the ala of the nose. This will help you guide the position of the anterior teeth. So next one would be the tragus of the ear. Tragus of the ear, this is useful for establishing the occlusal plane orientation. Kaya nga tayo nagfa-fox plane. Kaya nga tayo naglalagay ng straight object from the ala to the tragus. Kasi tinitingnan natin parallelism, the orientation of the occlusal plane. Next one would be the philtrum. This is a central guide for the midline placement. The vermilion border, which guides the labial support and the tooth display. Yun yung mga tinitingnan natin. The angle of the mouth, which helps determine the width of the denture teeth arrangement. And the modulus, which is important for muscle attachment and lip function. Okay? So accurate identification of these landmarks would ensure that the denture is properly aligned with the patient's natural facial features para matamaan mo yung aesthetic portion, para bumagay sa kanya. Hindi yan yung kung kunyari sinukatan mo siya tapos ay kayo na po bahala kung anong pontik yung available. Hindi, you should be the one deciding and instructing your laboratory. Itong pontik na to, ito yung facial type ng patient ko. Use a squarish type of pontics, yung mga ganon. Okay? So when planning your dentures, it is very important to understand also the muscles of mastication. So as you can see here, color-coded pa rin siya for the origin, insertion, and the action of the muscle. So as this will influence the mandibular movement and occlusion. So there are four main muscles, often remembered by the acronym TIME. Okay? So pag tinanong kayo, what are the muscles of mastication? Yung TIME yun. So that would be your temporalis, internal or your medial pterygoid, your masseter, and your external or your lateral pterygoid. Okay? So isa-isahin natin. For temporalis, the origin would be the temporal fossa. It is inserted in the coronoid process of the mandible and it elevates the mandible via the superior and anterior fibers. So posterior fibers would retract the mandible. Okay? So again, when we're talking about elevation or elevating the mandible, it is done by your anterior and superior fibers. While if you're talking about the retraction of the mandible, it would be your posterior fibers. Okay? So next one would be your internal or your medial pterygoid. So it originates from the medial surface of the lateral pterygoid plate, and it's inserted in the medial surface again of the angle of the mandible. Okay? Medial surface pa rin siya. So the action for this muscle would be to elevate also the mandible. So as you can see, elevate pa rin sila. Tatlong elevate. Okay? So for the masseter, it originates from the zygomatic arch and is inserted in the lateral surface of the angle of the mandible and also elevates the mandible as its action. So for the external or the last muscle of mastication, that's your external or lateral pterygoid. It originates from the lateral surface of the lateral pterygoid plate and is inserted in the condyle of the mandible. So the action for this muscle would be to depress the muscle, depress the mandible rather. So lateral excrusion to the opposite side is also done by using this muscle. Protrusion when both muscles contract simultaneously. Kapag ka dalawang muscles nag-a-act simultaneously, nagpo-protrude yung mandible natin. So take note, if your lateral pterygoid is injured, then the jaw will shift towards the same side as the injury. Okay? So again, kapag injured yung muscle mo na yan, the jaw will shift on the same side. So kung sa left side may injury, left side pa rin ang jaw shifting natin. Okay? So to summarize this slide, yung time natin, yung muscles of mastication natin, yung unang tatlo, this would all elevate the mandible. And then yung pinakadulo, kaya nga siya sa pinakababa kasi it depresses. Okay? So yung binababa niya, yung mandible. Okay? So now let's discuss the TMJ, which is a fibrocartilaginous, diba? Parang tongue twister yan joint that connects with the mandibular condyle with the glenoid fossa of the temporal bone. So it is classified as a gangliomo-arthrodial joint, meaning it has two types of movement. So gangliomo, or the hinging or rotatory movement, so this would occur in the lower compartment of the joint. This is also responsible for small mouth openings, usually less than 25 millimeters. So if it's less than 25 millimeters, it's the lower compartment that is being used. Okay? So for the arthrodial or the sliding or translatory movement, this would occur in the upper compartment, which will then allow larger movements. So this can be noticed typically with a mouth opening greater than 25 millimeters when they are opening and protruding their jaw. Okay? So before fabricating a denture, certain pre-prosthetic procedures may be necessary to ensure a proper foundation for the prosthesis. So these include the frenectomy. This is performed when the frenum has a crestal attachment that may interfere with the peripheral seal of the denture kapag ka masyadong mababa yung frenum niya. Because sometimes, may patients na talagang prominent yung frenum. Diba? So pagka makaka-hinder siya doon or makaka-interfere siya with your peripheral seal ng dentures mo, then you have to do a pre-prosthetic treatment first. Because pag hindi mo ginawa yon, every time that your patient will contract their muscles, their oral cavity, malalaglag yung denture mo. Soft tissue yan Okay? Next one would be your alveoloplasty. So for alveoloplasty, this is the reshaping of the alveolar bone to improve stability and retention of the prosthesis. Another type of pre-prosthetic treatment would be your exostosis and your tori removal. So this is a surgical removal of any bony prominences that can obstruct your denture fit. So kung hindi naman ganun kalaki, yung torus ng patient mo, hindi mo na kailangan tanggalin. If it can be relievable, then you just have to place wax relief. Okay? Pero if it would interfere with the seal, then definitely you have to advise your patient that you have to have it done or you have to have it removed. So for vestibuloplasty, it increases the relative height of the alveolar ridge by repositioning the alveolar mucosa and muscles such as your buccinator, your mentalis, and your mylohyoid muscle. So these procedures would help us create an optimal foundation for denture support and adaptation. When we talk about vestibuloplasty pala, ito yung binababa natin yung vestibule. Kasi sometimes, masyadong mataas na because of the resorption of the ridge, especially in the mandible. So yung vestibule halos kapantay na nung pinaka-ridge natin. So there's a treatment that we can do, which is the vestibuloplasty, wherein you would make or ibababa mo yung vestibule ng patient mo para umangat yung ridge. Okay? So when evaluating denture patients, it's also important for us to recognize common clinical complaints and their causes, their underlying causes. Ito yung mga na-experience nyo na rin to, for sure. Yung mga na-ano na kayo dito. So when your patient comes to your clinic complaining of a burning sensation in the mandibular ridge, then this is usually due to the pressure on the mental foramen. Okay? Kulang yung relief mo doon sa mental foramen. That's why it's causing a burning sensation on the mandibular ridge. Eh dok, paano naman pagka sa upper, sa maxillary, nagkukos ng burning sensation, specifically on the palate? So this can be caused or usually caused by the pressure on the incisive foramen. Okay? Hindi mo na i-relieve yung incisive foramen na yan. So, anong troubleshoot natin pag ganyan? Bawas ka doon sa area na yon. Lagyan mo ng space para hindi natatamaan. Okay? Next one would be the clicking of the denture. Clicking of denture, this would often result from excessive vertical dimension of occlusion. Excessive yung VDO, masyadong mataas yung kinuha mong bite, kaya nagkiklik yung denture teeth niya. Or sometimes, if you're using a porcelain teeth or porcelain pontics. So, lagi yan, merong mga patients na mag-a-ask sa'yo na sasabihin, Dok, hindi ba pwedeng porcelain ang gamitin mo sa akin? Yung mga ganun. Kasi yun ang common na naririnig nila. When they hear about porcelain, they would think that, oh, it's expensive. Uy, okay yan, pang mayaman yan. Not knowing that porcelain teeth are very heavy. Especially kung kunyari, first time denture wearer sila, tapos biglang magpo-porcelain agad sila, ay malalaglag talaga yan. Okay? And you should also inform them na okay po, sige, mag-porcelain po tayo, pero wala pong sisihan kapag ang tunog parang nagkakaskasang plato or nag-uumpog ang plato every time you're using your denture. Kasi nga porcelain yan eh. So nagtatama talaga yan. Okay? Maingay. Now for the cheek biting, this would occur when there is insufficient horizontal overlap or inadequate VDO. So, yung clicking of the denture, excessive pag masyadong mataas. Kapag naman masyadong mababa ang VDO mo, it can cause cheek biting. Kasi diba, pansinin nyo, pagkabagsak yung bite ng pasyente, yung cheeks nila mas tumataba, nagfo-fold. So, syempre, pumapasok yun in between your maxillary and mandibular teeth. Yung neutral zone mo, nawawala. Yung space between the hard tissue and the soft tissue, nawawala siya pagkabagsak yung VDO. Another na nangyayari kapag bagsak ang VDO mo would be the angular cheilitis. So, bakit siya associated with insufficient VDO? Pansinin niyo yung mga taong deep bite or insufficient yung VDO. It would always lead to the drooping corners of the mouth. So, ang nangyayari dyan, naiipon yung laway sa gilid, which is bacteria yon, 'di ba? Bacteria that irritates the skin, kaya nagsusugat yung gilid ng labi natin. Okay? Another would be the mucosal change. This may result from the vitamin C deficiency, leading to the scorbutic gingivitis. So, yun ang tawag kapag ka may vitamin C deficiency, scorbutic gingivitis. Okay? Now, other complaints frequently encountered in denture wearers would also include whistling. Kapag yung patients mo, Dok, parang may pumipito dito sa denture na ginawa mo. Then definitely, it can be caused by the decreased overbite, increased overjet, or high narrow palate. So, parang nagkakaroon ng pito yung pinaka-denture when they are speaking. Okay? Now, for lisping naman, your S sounds, nagiging sh sounds. So, this results when the arch form is too wide. Okay? Masyadong wide. So, kung kunyari nagsi-CD pa kayo, may mga patients pa kayong hindi nyo pa natatapos. Tapos, yung S nila, kapag pinabilang natin 61, 62, 63, yung mga ganon. If it's SH, sounds like sh, ganon, then you check the arch form. Is it too wide? Masyado bang malaki yung space nung overjet ko? Yung mga ganon. Okay? So later on, i-discuss din natin paano ba mag-tooth setting for every sound. Kung kunyari nawawala yung F, nawawala yung P, ano bang gagawin mo? Yung mga ganon. Okay? Now, for sore spots, this is usually due to the overextension of the dentures or occlusal errors. Okay? So, pagka overextension, Doc, how can I differentiate if it's an occlusal error or an overextension of my denture? So, if your patient will complain on only one portion, kung kunyari, isolated just on that area, yung sore spot, then probably it's because of the overextension. So, if it's an occlusal error, nagra-rock yung denture mo, then you check using your articulating paper. Most probably, malamraming ipin ang hindi pumapantay. Okay? So, the moment you establish a proper occlusal equilibrium, then spots would lessen. Okay? Yun yung kaya nga may mga patients din na hindi naman talaga sumasakit yung denture after doing the denture. Kumbaga pag tama naman yung extension mo, wala kang ganyang problema. Okay? Now, if your patient is gagging, this may occur if you have done a thick palate, overextension of the denture, or psychogenic factors. So, minsan iisipin mo din, minsan kasi syempre, ang tagal na walang nakalagay sa bibig ng pasyente mo. So, the moment you place something inside their mouth, they would think that it's not normal. So, ang mangyayari dyan, iisip-isipin nila. So, yun yung gag ng gag yung patient mo. Okay? So, bawas ka lang, nipisan mo lang pagka ganyan ang problem. So, now for looseness. For looseness, this is often caused by the poor denture extension, loss of posterior palatal seal, or flat residual ridges. Kasi nga, bone resorption is inevitable. Pagka wala ng ipin, definitely there would be a bone resorption. So, kaya nafa-flatten yung ridge natin. So, yung looseness na yan, lalo kung hindi naman or ayaw naman ni patient magpa-bone grafting, magpa-pre-prosthetic surgery para tumaas yung ridge niya, most of the time, talagang hindi mo siya mapapafit ng maayos. Okay? Bibihira yung may kayang magpa-fit talaga. So, recognizing the specific cause for each complaint is critical for making precise adjustments and improving denture retention. Para at least, pagka sinabi sa'yo, ay, alam ko yan, na-discuss sa amin yan eh. Whistling daw. So, ibig sabihin, decreased yung overbite ng patient ko. Or masyadong high or narrow ba yung palate? Yung mga ganun. You will be able to isolate the problem and to improve or make precise adjustments based on your knowledge dito kung bakit sila nagkakaroon ng ganong problema. Okay? Sige, so 5 minutes break. We will be discussing about the impression procedures. Tapos, bale para mamaya, kumbaga medyo fresh pa. Kasi syempre ang attention span natin hindi naman ganun katagal talaga, 'di ba? So pagka masyadong marami ng information, nabobomba na tayo. ang tendency mag-shutdown tayo. Okay? So, let's have a 5-minute break. Let's come back ng 9:32.